Hey guys, Nick from Arch City Poker, archcityplo.com, and in this week's video, we're going to talk about how to beat players that can show up with anything. So, didn't plan on talking about this topic this week, had a couple other topics lined up. However, there's a big misconception that these players that play really wide ranges pre-flop that can show up with junky two pairs, trips, the guys I'm talking about, the guys that everybody at the table is like, oh, that guy can show up with anything. Big misconception that they show up with these weird strong hands way more often than not. And the reality is that they really flop nothing way more often than not. They really show up with air or marginal pairs, marginal draws, the vast majority of the time. So now that we've debunked that in itself, and just trust me on that, that's just the math of it. How do we beat these guys? Because they can be kind of weird to play against. It's really hard to range them. Essentially, if you know that they play like this, then you probably already have a pretty good idea of how they play post-flop, whether that's more aggressively or they play a little bit more straightforward or passively. If they play pretty aggressively with that wide of a range, then you know that their range is so wide that their aggressive play at that kind of frequency can't support that wide of a range. So what I would suggest is letting them bluff chips off. Slow play a lot of your bigger hands, plan to check call a lot, plan to just call in position with bigger hands a lot. If it's more of a dynamic texture, you need a little more protection, you feel like you can charge their draws, then yes, you could probably play some of those bigger hands a little faster. But you really want to deny these guys as much info as you can and let them make their mistakes in the form of aggression, whether they're betting and or bear raising. And then you're going to want to bluff raise them quite a bit. Because their range is so wide, they're going to hate seeing raises. They're going to take that info as, well, this player's now thinks he's trapped me, but it's easy just to fold to him. They're going to have to fold a lot of hands that might have some equity. So make sure you throw in more bluff raises. And they can be semi-bluffs. You can use flush draws. You can use gutters. You can use hands like middle or bottom pair that might be lacking showdown value. If you have like backdoor flush draws with those hands, you can use those. Really want to essentially reverse your play against them and not really worry about balance as much, because players that are playing that wide of a range pre-flop, they're probably not very good players to begin with. They're probably not the greatest hand readers post-flop. So I wouldn't really worry too much about balance until you notice that they're really picking up on your play. But yeah, I basically would reverse it. I would slow play a lot of your bigger hands, and then I would fast play more bluff, or like more combos as bluff raises, essentially. Now, if it's the flip side of that, and you have a very passive player, he's much more straightforward post-flop, then it's pretty easy. If he shows pretty extreme strength, then it's going to be easy to fold to him, exploit him by folding more often, knowing that he has a lot of like really good like top pair plus types of hands. And then if he's just playing very passively, if he's just calling down or check calling, then he probably has a lot of marginal stuff, a lot of weak pairs, a lot of weaker draws, and you can play accordingly against that. So again, big myth that these guys that can show up with anything, that it's a big myth that they have these two pairs plus that often. They really don't. They're going to have air very, very often. You're going to have the stronger range almost every time. Take advantage of that. Don't be afraid to play against them. Relish the chance to actually play with them. If you have any questions or comments, as usual, go ahead and let me know. Hit the subscribe button. Click on the link. Visit archcityplo.com. Continuing to post new content on there for the members every week. Been posting a lot of hand history videos, a lot of recorded sessions where I basically am playing multiple online tables, and you can see my in-game thoughts, how I'm playing in certain spots. And there's a lot of value in those videos, so make sure you visit the site if you want to learn more and improve your game. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week for the next video. Thanks.